The Washington Commanders find themselves at a pivotal juncture with one of the franchise's most respected and consistent stars. Wide receiver Terry McLaurin, the face of the Commanders' offense for several seasons and a captain admired for both his performance and leadership, is now at the center of a brewing contract dispute. With mandatory minicamp rapidly approaching, tensions are reportedly rising behind closed doors as negotiations remain stagnant. While no formal holdout has been declared, sources close to the situation suggest McLaurin is seriously considering sitting out the opening of minicamp to apply pressure on the front office in hopes of accelerating talks for a new deal. McLaurin, who has consistently produced despite an ever-rotating cast of quarterbacks in Washington, is believed to be seeking a contract that reflects his value as one of the league's most reliable and professional wideouts. Despite his individual accomplishments, McLaurin has remained mired in a team that has struggled to find consistent success or offensive identity. That reality, coupled with the market dynamics for top-tier receivers, has placed McLaurin in a position to demand not only a raise, but also some clarity about the direction of the franchise. While Washington has publicly expressed a desire to keep McLaurin long-term, actions speak louder than words in the NFL. As long as no new agreement is reached, speculation about his future will continue to mount. And now, that speculation has spilled into the realm of potential trades. Bleacher Report analyst Christopher Knox recently proposed a blockbuster trade scenario that would send shockwaves through the league. His suggestion? Ship Terry McLaurin to the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for a 2026 first-round pick and a 2027 fifth-round pick. According to Knox, the deal would be mutually beneficial. Washington would receive valuable draft capital to continue its rebuild under new leadership, while Pittsburgh would land a premier receiver to bolster its offense in a win-now situation. The hypothetical trade might have sounded outlandish in another era, but not in 2025. The NFL landscape has shifted dramatically over the past few seasons, with superstar wide receivers like Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, and Stephon Diggs all being dealt for significant packages. Teams have learned that, with the salary cap ballooning and rookie contracts providing flexibility, the aggressive pursuit of proven talent can be the difference between contending and fading into obscurity. And for Pittsburgh, few off-seasons have screamed all-in more than this one. After acquiring superstar wide receiver DK Metcalf earlier in the offseason and trading away George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys, the Steelers have been retooling their offensive identity. Veteran Robert Woods was brought in to provide leadership and route precision. Calvin Austin III remains an intriguing gadget player with speed to stretch defenses. Pat Freiermuth continues to emerge as one of the better young tight ends in the league. But despite these additions, there is still a sense that something is missing, a reliable, high IQ wideout with the ability to read defenses alongside a cerebral quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. Enter McLaurin. A third-round pick in 2019, McLaurin has quietly assembled a resume that compares favorably with some of the league's biggest names. With over 5,000 receiving yards and multiple 1,000-yard seasons to his name, he's done all this despite rarely having a consistent or high-level quarterback throwing his way. Known for his elite route running, consistent hands, and competitive fire, McLaurin is the type of receiver who can play any role on the field, outside, in the slot, or even motioning into hybrid formations. His ability to find soft spots in zones, beat man coverage, and make contested catches makes him a perfect fit in a timing-based offense. More importantly, McLaurin is widely respected for his attitude. He's never complained publicly, never demanded trades, and has always put the team first. That kind of character is invaluable in a locker room, especially one that now features a veteran quarterback with a strong personality in Aaron Rodgers. For the Steelers, the potential fit is almost too good to ignore. Knox echoed this sentiment in his analysis, writing, "While the Steelers traded for Metcalf this offseason, they also dealt George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys. While a lineup of Metcalf, Robert Woods, Calvin Austin III, and tight end Pat Freiermuth is respectable, Pittsburgh could use a playmaker like McLaurin. And if the Steelers were ever going to go all in on a season, this is the one." Indeed, the timing could not be more significant. Just days ago, the Steelers finalized a one-year deal with Rodgers, officially bringing the four-time MVP to the Steel City. It's a signing that has sent a clear message across the league. Pittsburgh is aiming for a Super Bowl run, and they're not interested in half measures. Rodgers, who is coming off a challenging year with the Jets following an Achilles injury, is betting on himself. So too are the Steelers, who believe that surrounding him with the right pieces could be the spark they need to break out of a years-long stretch of playoff frustration. Though Rodgers' stats last year were underwhelming compared to his prime, there were signs late in the season that he was regaining rhythm and command. With better protection and more weapons, there's optimism that he can return to near-elite form, especially in a Mike Tomlin-led environment that values discipline, toughness, and execution. Adding McLaurin would go beyond just giving Rodgers another target. It would fundamentally change how defenses have to play the Steelers. Opposing coordinators would be forced to choose between bracketing Metcalf on the outside or shading coverage toward McLaurin. That type of dilemma opens up the field for other contributors, Freiermuth over the middle, Austin on deep crossers, and even running back Jaylen Warren in the flats. It also plays into Rodgers' preference for veteran receivers who know how to adjust on the fly. McLaurin's football IQ is well documented. He's a film junkie, a route technician, and someone who consistently earns the trust of his quarterbacks. With Rodgers' famously high standards, that attribute becomes even more valuable. But the big question remains, would Washington actually consider such a move? From a pure football perspective, the answer is complicated. On one hand, trading away McLaurin removes a cornerstone player and sends a tough message to fans already dealing with uncertainty. On the other hand, the Commanders are undergoing a rebuild under new ownership and management. They have a new coaching staff, a new front office philosophy, and a long-term plan focused on flexibility, development, and sustainability. With first-round rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels set to start, it's clear the Commanders are investing in the future. Trading McLaurin, while painful, might align with a broader timeline that sees Washington loading up on draft assets and cap space while their signal caller is on a rookie deal. Acquiring a first-round pick in 2026 and a fifth in 2027 would give Washington valuable ammunition as they look to reshape their roster. There's also the issue of precedent. If Washington refuses to negotiate in good faith with McLaurin and tensions escalate, the PR cost of a messy public feud could outweigh the benefits of keeping him. McLaurin, to his credit, has not publicly demanded a trade. But in the NFL, these situations can deteriorate quickly. A quiet off-season contract standoff can become a loud training camp headache in a matter of weeks. If Washington wants to avoid that, they may decide the best move is a graceful exit, one that sends McLaurin to a contender and brings back future capital in return. For Pittsburgh, the risk would be taking on a sizable contract extension or negotiating one immediately after the trade. McLaurin will undoubtedly want a deal that reflects his status among the top 12 to 15 wideouts in the league. But the Steelers, flush with cap space after reworking several deals and unloading Pickens' future salary, are in a position to make such a move. In fact, with Rodgers on just a one-year deal, it would make sense to spread some of the financial burden into future years while keeping the current roster as intact as possible. What's certain is that the Steelers are not standing still. After years of being on the playoff bubble, they are finally acting with the urgency that fans have long been craving. From the front office to the coaching staff, there is alignment. 2025 is a year to push for greatness. Whether that means landing McLaurin remains to be seen. But with the Commanders in transition, and McLaurin's future uncertain, don't be surprised if Pittsburgh continues to make calls, and eventually makes a bold offer that forces Washington's hand. And if they do, the AFC had better take notice.